tell you why it looks like we're going to war with Iran because there is a big gulf between the demands and what the other side is willing to meet. In fact, Iran seems to have done the calculus that they think going to war is the least worst problem for them. Now, why is that? Well, Donald Trump is out there insisting that Iran actually uh, not only gives up their nuclear program, enrichment program, but that Iran will also get rid of their missile or cut down their missile force and shorten the range so they can't hit Israel and get rid of all their proxy forces all around the Mideast. And for most of us, those proxy forces are perhaps one of the biggest problems. If you're worried about sleeper cells activated here in America, that would be through the proxy forces. So these are the things that Donald Trump has insisted, especially Netanyahu's forced it. Donald Trump seemed to be kind of willing to go with a nuclear deal originally. But as I had stated in previous videos, he would want more of a nuclear deal than what he's getting with currently with or what they got with the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Agreement that Obama negotiated, which he ripped up. So he would save face, have to get something that would be better than that in order to make a deal. But the situation with Iran is looking at what they consider their existential threats. And Iran considers their only defense from getting wiped out to be the proxy forces, to be the missiles with the long range capabilities, to be indeed their nuclear enrichment program. But they might be willing to give up one to some degree, or at least tamp it down to the level of the Joint Plan for Comprehensive Agreement, the JPOC. But it just don't look like that's where we're going. It doesn't look like it at all. I'm trying to get the chat room over here to update. I won't do it. The computer's acting stupid. But anyway, so the situation is that there's a gulf. There appears to be no movement toward agreement. It looks like war, my friends. It looks like we're going at it. So here's what you need to know. Donald Trump gave a timeline, and his timeline was he gave him 10 to 15 days last Thursday, and I think the emphasis was 10 days. A lot of sources say he's ready to strike Saturday, which is a day now, that he's ready to strike. And there was talk of a limited strike that Donald Trump might invoke. So it might be he would do that earlier. That might be what we're talking about doing Saturday as a limited strike. Now, there's sources saying that there's been conversations where he's basically been talked out of this limited strike concept. So because that would just lead to full-fledged war, probably. Yeah, limited strike just isn't going to be limited. It's like that old idea of no good plans survives first contact with the enemy. Now, what else I got to tell you is there's a lot of people out there talking about how Iran will use their hypersonic missiles to take out our carriers. That is not as likely as what some suggest, and here's why. Although they have a lot of other missiles they could throw at them. The hypersonic missiles, the hypersonic glide missile, that's what we're talking. All these ballistic missiles travel at hypersonic speeds, but they come in on a ballistic trajectory. They come around like that. Whereas a hypersonic missile flies along in the atmosphere it's at supersonic speeds, and it's so hot that they're traveling so fast that it strips the electrons out of the atoms and builds up a plasma and a plasma sheath in front of them. Just like the space shuttle, when it's coming back from orbit and during its reentry, or the Orion capsule will be this time coming up, the old Apollo capsules, all of the space capsules coming in, you've got a plasma around. If you remember, during these plasma, it's radio blackout. You don't know what's going on in the spacecraft. You don't know if the guys are even alive or not, because the heat shield could fail. And so during this plasma event, you cannot radio it or hear from it. So there's no transmission, there's no guidance, and the carrier's a moving target. But this thing can't see if it's trying out, there are some things it might do for maneuvers to give it just a little bit of edge to see for a little bit, but it's very difficult for that thing to see traveling at those velocities. Not saying it can't, but it's extremely difficult. Like I said, they can do certain maneuvers, kind of get away from the plasma a little bit, but they're still going to be building up. They can't fully get away from it, and some sensors may be better than others, but basically you're flying blind. So you're flying blind trying to hit a moving target. And of course, there's all these people say, well, the hypersonics can't be shot down. Well, we actually know better than that because the Patriot missile, which is not really our top line missile defense missile, has shot down Russian Kinzhal hypersonic glide vehicles. It's been done. It's been done with assets that weren't built to do that. Oh, my rocket fell apart. I lost my fins. Yeah, it's been done with stuff that wasn't even designed initially to do that, through some ingenuity on the side of the Ukrainians during the war that's going on there between them and Russia. So to say that it can't be done is balderdash, to quote Potter from MASH. So it's very difficult to hit them with a glide vehicle when you're shooting at a moving target. Just take that into account. And you can bet those are moving targets and they'll be shooting back. Where the Iranians might get an advantage is if they send out a lot of these Shahad drones, and they're talking about trying to swarm our carrier groups of drones and missiles. Now, if they should be able to do it, if we're like shooting SM-3s and SM-6s at everything, yeah, we'd run out of missiles to defend our carrier group real fast. The fighter jets will take out a lot of them. Well, they're smaller missiles they're carrying. And we would hope, I don't know, but we would hope that our forces have deployed anti-drone microwave weapons, which should take out a lot of them at one time, frying electronics, and have some kind of laser like the Army had and operated down near El Paso. We're going to talk about that in a little bit too. So there's these lasers that could be brought into play that could take out a lot of the drones to keep them having to use a lot of your missile assets. And that's what you'd want to do ideally. Now, how well we're set up for that down there, I don't know. But you better hope that our guys have got that in their defense repertoire, or they're going to be using up a lot more missiles than what you'd want to do, because the Iranians have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of drones and missiles, thousands of missiles, and probably thousands of Shahed drones. So you've got to be able to defend against those in such a way as not to have your SM-3s and SM-6 ballistic missile interceptors wasted and exhausted real fast. And by the way, we need those if we get into conflict with China, and our production rate on them is not that great. So these are all things to take into account. But, it seems to be almost a foregone conclusion that we're going to war over there. Now, Iran did try to sweeten the pot a little bit by offering oil and mineral deals to the Iranians, to Donald Trump, but he's made no motion or talks about taking that because he still wants the nuclear program taken out. He wants their nuclear program ended, and that's his main objective. It's really the Israelis that want to have the proxy forces taken out and want to have the missile ranges. And I don't know how you're going to do that. You're going to say, okay, you got to dial back his missiles so it can only shoot this far. Well, you'd have to eliminate certain missiles probably, or put something in the fuel tanks where they can be fully fueled up. But the solid rocket boosters, you can't really do that. So, lasers are effective to a point, but still, even though if they have like an infinite magazine almost, probably the best thing, which takes several drones out at once, would be those high-power microwave weapons. Those would be better, really, than the lasers. Lasers, microwaves first, lasers second, and then, like I said, our fighter aircraft do have some smaller missiles they can carry and take a lot of those drones out. Not their most expensive missiles. And that's what you would hope they'd be going after the drones with. And even the Phalanx guns on a lot of these ships could take out a lot of those drones. Those Phalanx guns are pretty amazing. So, that's the thing that would really get it rocking over there and the Iranians are counting on that too. So they're going to send a lot of stuff to try to saturate the defenses of the carrier strike groups. Now the fort, the Abraham Lincoln is offshore in the Indian Ocean down below Iran. It's not real close next up to it because there are a lot of anti-ship missiles there on the shore of Iran near the sea. The Ford is in the Mediterranean Sea right now. Maybe they would try to get it through the Suez Canal and get it down there, but I'm kind of doubting it because for one, that's going to put it in range of the Houthis. Now the Houthis probably won't fire at it if the war's not broke out, but if it is, they definitely would. But they might anyway. But that would start the war, and Iran don't want to start the war yet, so they'd probably tell them to hold their horses before they fire. Hold your breath, don't fire yet. Um, so they might try to put it through the Suez Canal, but even in eastern Mediterranean Sea off from Israel, it could do some interesting missions there. One, those same SM-3s and SM-6s could be used to help defend Israel, and two, the aircraft. See, that's a long way for the aircraft to go from Israel, just off the shore of Israel down to Iran. Well, we just sent a whole lot of refueling tankers, So we could refuel the jets in between. And that's what would happen. Now, those refuelers would probably be targets. They're pretty big and slow moving, but they would be probably flying over friendly countries like Jordan. Maybe Saudi Arabia would allow them to fly there. Iraq is not necessarily friendly, but it might fall in the picture, especially northern Iraq and the Kurdistan area. That's a possibility. So that's how you might see that go down. You'd expect us to go in with our, if we go into war with them, we're going to, the first thing the United States is going to do is go in and take out the eyes and missiles of the Iranians. They'll go for their radar sites. They'll go for their missile sites. And then they may be going for government facilities for the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Force command post and headquarters facilities. And, we're not expecting they're going to go after infrastructure. The reason being, they don't want to damage the infrastructure we're in because they don't want to hurt the people. They're going after the Ayatollah regime. And they're talking about if it's full war, it may be a full regime change thing, which means at some point, they're either going to be they're going to hit them so hard that the locals could go in and take them out, or most likely that we would be sending some number of boots on the ground. I've seen numbers of 1 to 10,000 floated for that. So there's a lot that could happen. Now, I'm not saying, I haven't said at all that I'm for this war because I think we really ought to have been focusing on China. But this may be part of the fourth dimensional chess to weaken China because China uses a whole lot of the petroleum from Iran more so than Venezuela. Probably I might have got about 3% of oil from Venezuela. I have to check the numbers. It's not a big percentage. I think it's about 20% from Iran, maybe higher. So they get a lot of their petroleum through there. So it would be enough to put a real dent in the Chinese economy and maybe take the wind out of their sails for their People's Liberation Army Navy if they're getting ready to attack Taiwan. I'm sure if everything was controlled going through all the oil coming through the Strait of Hormuz, then you could probably embargo a larger percentage of what's going to China. So here's the thing, though. It's been stated that in previous wars, like previous Gulf Wars, we were able to, with our technology we had then, to coordinate 40 to 50 strikes a day on the target area, the target country. Word out now is that we can do hundreds of strikes per day. Now, the plan was the number is bigger now than they were before. It's data fusion, basically. It's understanding the targets, the enemy, and being able to coordinate that with all your weapon systems. That's not a minor undertaking. If you remember when we hit a rock, it was called, in the first Gulf War, it's called shock and awe. And I believe it was about the same in the second Gulf War. They called it shock and awe because we had so much to tell them. Well, we can do a whole lot more now. We're talking hundreds of strikes in a day. And some people think the regime wouldn't last 10 days under such an onslaught. I don't know, just saying. Now, we do know that they're digging in. We do know that they are taking the missile batteries that Israel hit, and they built concrete over them. Now, see, the United States didn't go after all the different targets inside Iran except for 3 nuclear facilities. That's all we went after. All the rest of the damage was done by Israel, and Israel would be coming back into the fight. And they'd be trying to do the same thing. So that was a 12-day war. It didn't take the regime out, but with the United States in it, with 10 days, I don't know, maybe. But Iran is thinking, no. They're thinking, hey, we survived the 12-day war. We survived the uprising, and we've got a distributed command structure. Our Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, RGC, is all in the economy. They're controlling all these different things, all these different places. They can't take us out. And that seems to be what they're betting on. Like I said earlier, they're betting on the war is the least of the evils, because otherwise, if they give up and capitulate, see, they don't want to capitulate. If they give up, capitulate to the United States and give up proxies and give up the missiles in addition to uranium enrichment, that they would have no real deterrence to keep somebody from coming in and hitting them. Where they may be making a mistake is the lack of realization that the United States can hit a lot harder now than before. Nobody's ever seen that. Nobody's ever seen the United States, and we haven't unleashed a war like that. So nobody has seen that. It's just not been seen in the world, what we might be able to unleash. And so the real message, and part of the reason that Donald Trump may want to go into war here, it might be a lesson to the Russians and the Chinese, especially China. It might be, okay, guys, if you want to tangle this, have a look, see what we can do today. And it might make them pucker up a little bit and do some recalculations about some of their aggressive intentions, especially China vis-a-vis Taiwan. They might, ooh. Now, see, China and Russia both have felt like they had a black eye because their systems got taken offline like instantly in Venezuela and was of zero value. They didn't contribute nothing. And so that looked really bad for them. So what China and Russia has done is they've rushed in their very best defense radars and such, and some of their anti-missile aircraft and anti-ship missiles. So for them, this may be a test just to see how good their stuff is. They probably want to know. That's why they send. And of course, Iran's an ally. If Iran falls out of the orbit of Russia and China, it puts a big hole south of Russia, strategically speaking, because suddenly their lower flank is unguarded. That means that whatever country's got that's full access to the Caspian Sea right into Russia. And that would make Russia really nervous. Also, Russia would lose a market because they have been selling nuclear power development services and technologies to the Iranians all along. And also, they get their Shahed drones from, to a large degree, from Iran, although they have started manufacturing a lot of their own using Iranian designs. Kind of funny. We stole one of those and Shahed drones, and we're building them too now. It's argued maybe ours are a little technologically superior. I don't know, but we actually have copied it and are using that drone ourselves, which is probably a smart move. We needed to have more low-cost weaponry than all this, huge defense industry, high dollar stuff. Yeah, you might want some of that for starting a war for your initial targets, but in the end, sometimes you just need dumb artillery or dumb drones. Because look what the Iranians have done, not Iranians, look what the Ukrainians have done with just, commercial drones and re-outfitting them for war. They have done amazing things with those. And so it just shows the potential of the drone technology. And we're going to talk about the border again a little bit with vis-a-vis drones. So we're not done with that topic either. There's more coming up on that, like what was going on around El Paso. You can expect to see more of that. So this whole drone thing has been a game changer. I'll go into the chat room here in a little bit and see what everybody's saying. But I just want, for the morning coffee club people that watch in the morning, I'm trying to get through the news first. So all that said, I'm going to show you some articles here in a little bit, but that's the preamble. That's the what's going down, what it means. And just looking at it right now, unless something miraculously breaks or somebody gets an aha moment, or suddenly Iran gets scared and says, "Oh yes, Donald Trump will give you anything you want." I don't see that because no, on another dimension, it would also make the Ayatollah look weak. And anytime a dictator looks weak, their days end. That usually leads to their overthrow. They have to be strong men. That's why Saddam Hussein was posturing. You know, he had to, or he would have been wiped out internally. You know, went back for the Gulf War. I'm thinking he ain't got nothing. There's no point in going in Iraq. Really wasn't. There really wasn't. And what we did is we took out the country that was kind of a buffer against Iran. And then, since Iraq was mostly Shia, Iran suddenly had the dominant hand there in that country, and they spread their proxies a lot easier when when Iraq fell. So that really allowed a major expansion, what some people call the Shia crescent almost, of the proxies that Iran had available. So it really wasn't that great of a move. W, I mean, HW, he Bush the elder in the first Gulf War was claiming it was, about, they had yellow cake and all that. Remember, he had Colin Powell saying that stuff, but it turned out that wasn't true. Or if they had it, they moved it. And that's a possibility. So Iraq really wasn't up to what all the stuff that we went in for. The second Gulf War, we mainly went in there because Saddam basically tried to take out Bush the elder, and Bush the younger wanted revenge. That's my assessment of it. That's what I think happened there. But how many American lives were lost because W wanted revenge against an attempt on his dad? Nah, I don't know. There's maybe more to it than that. Maybe we just wanted to show our power. Maybe the real reason is the big defense industries, the military industrial complex. They wanted to use some weapons so they could have to replace them and make money. You know, they say all wars are banker wars. Sometimes it just boils down to the money. But it was also a incredible show of our defense capabilities or offense capabilities at that time. If you remember the road of death, where all the Iraqis tried to flee Kuwait, they didn't make it. They were all crispy critters up and down the whole road. Everything was fried, burnt to a crisp. And that was a pretty horrific thing to look at. But anyway, it just shows what we could do way back then. And apparently, it's been claimed that we have far greater strike capabilities today, far greater. So it may boil down to a lot of the same. The defense companies, that's why Lindsey Graham is such a war hawk. The defense companies got their hands in his pocket putting money in them. So I think that's really his war hawk stance, where he comes from, and probably a few others. So, it's like Vietnam War. I had a master sergeant I worked for at the Equipment Management Branch in Fort Greely, Alaska. He was in charge of the helicopters is on these carriers that we're going to send back. They already had them loaded on the carriers, but he was given the orders to toss them all in the sea. You may have seen the video of that. They tossed tons of Huey helicopters into the ocean. And the excuse, what they told him, what they told everybody else, the reason for that was they couldn't afford to bring them back. It just cost too much money. They already had them loaded on the ship. The ship had to come home anyway. It didn't make no sense whatsoever. And he knew that. He knew his bunch of bull. Bravo Sierra. But that's what they did. Why? Because probably Sikorsky or Hughes, whoever was building most of those helicopters, was probably Sikorsky. I have to go back and look who built the UH-1 helicopters back in the day. But hey, they weren't going to get a big contract to replace them. Seriously, it was money. And we didn't save money. That cost a lot of money doing that. That was stupid. We had them loaded on the ships, ready to go. The ships had to come home anyway, and they still threw them in the ocean. So there's a lot of that. A lot of that stuff that goes on. And it's a shame, especially when we're, $38 trillion in debt. We don't need to see that kind of mess. But in any event, it really looks like it's going down. It looks like it's going down. It can start today or 10 days from now, maybe 15. But Donald Trump basically said 10 days from Thursday, last Thursday. So, yeah, what, we're at 8 days, 7 days. But then again, remember, he was active when they struck those three nuclear facilities in Operation Midnight Hammer. They were still, apparently getting ready for some more negotiations. So it was a kind of surprise me. But, Sun Tzu, you don't tell them when you're going to hit them. You make them think you're going to hit them then, and then you hit them here. And that's why I said China may go in for Taiwan this year because they're telling everybody 2027. Well, you're not going to tell the world when you're going to invade somebody. That makes no sense. And the last country you think that would do that would be the country from which the book, The Art of War by Sun Tzu came out of. Well, maybe they won't be ready to 2027, but a lot of people are saying they're actually pretty close to being ready now. And what's happening? We're coming up on April real soon. And, we're just a couple months away from April. That's when the sea states are best in Taiwan. So, China may be looking at this as a great opportunity. They may be saying, hey, look at this. America's about to get all wrapped up in Iran. They don't have any of their aircraft carriers over here. They're all, not much. They just sent one from China, South China Sea, the Abraham Lincoln, over to Iran. So they may be saying this is our best chance. And they're going to waste their munitions. They let us fight Iran for a bit and waste some munitions, get all wrapped up over there, and then might move on Taiwan. If they were to move on Taiwan, probably the first thing would be a blockade. And then right before they would invade, they would shell it with missiles like crazy, just a whole fuselage of missiles. And then they would send in those landing ships and maybe some airborne troops, because now they have airborne. That's a new wrinkle in the whole thing. So we don't know what's going to go down. We could be in World War III before April. How fast would it escalate? Who else would get involved? We do know that Russia and China have been ghosting some of our ships. We know they had a joint military exercise with Iran, which was claimed to have been planned a year ago. So hard to say how that's going to go down. Anyway, I want to share some articles with you guys. Before I do, I'm going to promote something here that might give you guys an advantage. Let me do a screen share. In a second, I got to move things a little bit. Ding, 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 ding. So, pardon me. You might know I've been telling you guys some months back that I was going to try to bring you some options so that you could have. Is everybody sharing this thing or not? Okay. I was going to bring you guys some options where you could have choices for products that weren't full of chemicals, stuff that wasn't poison. That's an odd looking screen share. I usually get a green box around when I'm sharing. So let me see what it looks like here on the screen when it comes through. Yeah, okay, good. I've been telling you guys that I was going to do that, and it took me several months to get it all set up. But the fact of the matter is that we got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of consumer products. And it turns out that they're all controlled by 12 companies. And these 12 companies just allow all kind of chemicals in them. Your foods here in the United States have stuff in them that's not allowed in Europe. But the other products like your soaps, your hand wash, your dish detergent, shampoos, skincare products, and a lot of your supplements, they're not regulated like that. The regulations on them are a whole lot lighter. So you can just imagine all the junk they're putting in them. So, and also the bad thing about these 12 companies is they all participate in the House of Klaus, and they are principally owned by these three companies, mainly BlackRock. BlackRock owns enough shares to have controlling voice on the board in just about every one of those companies. So Mr. Larry Fink, who took the place of Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum, running the activity that says you will own nothing, you will have no privacy, and you'll be happy. He owns BlackRock. He's more powerful than Klaus Schwab ever was. Now he's running both. And the thing is, BlackRock's buying up houses like crazy with the whole idea of they're trying to set up a renter the economy where you don't own anything. You rent everything, including your underwear. Imagine that, guys. So every time you every time you buy from one of these companies, that's what you're voting for. Every dollar you put in it, you're voting for the dream of the House of Klaus. And you're getting poisoned along the way with all kind of nasty stuff. So I come up with a solution, and that is switchwithgreg.com. Because if you go to switchwithgreg.com, you can get away from those companies, get away from those products. It's a family-owned corporation, not a big multinational like all those other 12. The prices are comparable to clean products, organic products. It's non-toxic. They test this stuff, and it's plant-based. The cleaners and even things like that, they're plant-based, and they don't have all the toxins. They test them, and this stuff you can sell in Europe right off the bat. It's all clean. So, this is a lot more on that. So I highly encourage you guys to check out switchwithgreg.com. All you got to do is, if you want to get away from all the chemicals and stuff and all the products you're using, if you don't want to vote for the House of Klaus with every dollar you spend, remember it's Milton Friedman, who wrote the book Free to Choose, or Freedom to Choose. And in that, he made the point that every time you spend a dollar on something, that's what you're voting for. A dollar is a vote spent in the marketplace. It's another way to vote. He says, and it's more democratic than the votes in the ballot box. So just bear that in mind. If you want House of Klaus, just keep buying what you're buying. If you want a bunch of yucky chemicals for you and your family, keep buying what you're buying. Anyway, so check it out. Switchwithgreg.com. Enough said on that. Here we are. Trump issues his ultimatum as he's ramping up military pressure. And yeah, we're talking here. He says probably in the next 10 days, you're going to be finding out. He says over the next probably 10 days. And what does that mean? Hey, we got a super chat. All righty. Bill 4446. Thank you, sir. That's a nice super chat. About $20. Appreciate that. And that's why I keep a monitor open while I'm talking. I don't want to miss that. All right. Somebody sends a super chat and I said it's a salute. Salute, Bill. Appreciate it. All righty. Bill's been generous with us here on my channel. I appreciate that. So, I'll try to check. I'll check my messages on my phone before I'm gone here. Maybe see if Kim Possible's in the house or somebody that wants to give donations that way. All righty. So, something to look at, guys. This is what he's talking about. And let's see. That's another one. Same kind of story here. Look at this. This is some of the areas we have assets. The Abraham Lincoln's way down here. They don't want it too close up here. So that's when we got all the refuelers out there, is to give our jet craft more range. I mean, look, this is a good ways from Iran. And so is out here. So we got to destroy USS Berkeley over here. Now, the Gerald Ford was over here when this chart was made. It's inside the Mediterranean Sea, as I understand it right now. It's almost up here. So I'm thinking it's probably just going to stop here. And they'll use refuelers to run the jets into Iran. They don't want them too close. That's how they're going to get away from some of the threat, is be farther away. Plus, being farther away gives you more time to see what's coming at you, to target it, to be able to take it out. So it gives you more margin. But it means you got to refuel your planes. You definitely got to have aerial refueling. We got a whole lot of tanker aircraft over there to get these refueled. And all our jets aren't the ones on the planes. We've been sending a lot of jets over there. And they're at all these different centers. But Britain's not playing ball with us. That's another story we're going to go into here in a little bit. So watch out for that here. See, this article says, hey, all out war by Saturday. Now, who knows? They might. It could be today. It may be the next time I come on here, we're talking war. We're talking about what happened, what went down, or what's going on. Some analysis of how it's all playing out. So we'll see how soon that happens. It could be 2 weeks from now. But I'd say anytime between now and the next 2 weeks, this is more likely to occur than not. Something big has got to break to keep it from happening, because all the pieces are lining up for it. See, this is where I said he was considered limited strikes. And so I just wanted to put that out there for you guys that this is one of the options they're looking at. But some of the more recent stuff I read said, well, maybe not. So we may go in full tilt right off the bat. We'll have to see how that, what the heck happened there? Let's see if I can get that back up. Yeah, former CENTCOM general here is the one who's been telling us about how we can do hundreds of strikes per day now. So it's Admiral, excuse me, Vice Admiral retired Bob Harward. Bob Harward is the one that was telling us about this. How now we can make hundreds of strikes per day. Interesting. So, yikes, get rid of that. Air Force has deployed more than 50 fighter jets to the Middle East over the last 24 hours. Now, this is in addition to the ones we had over there already. This is Air Force. This is not the Navy jets. So it's showing a lot of the flights in and around. I guess you've seen a lot of flight stuff. So what have we seen over? F-35s, Lightning II, F-22 Raptor. Now that's actually our most advanced jet, most capable fighter jets, the F-22, and F-16 Fighting Falcon. And Israel's got a lot of those. So yeah, the numbers. There's a lot of people showing you numbers. Well, they got this, I mean, this many of this, and this many of that, and they're showing big charts in a lot of your YouTube videos. That's changing so fast. There's really no point in it because we're shipping a lot of stuff out, and we just keep shipping. So I might go into that later once things have settled down and the war started. But even then, we'll keep shipping stuff most likely until the war is over. So. And of course, we see the threats where Rand says, well, you're going to have uncontrollable consequences if you strike. Uh, so we'll have to see what that boils down to. So they are talking, they'll hit back with everything they got and everything they can. The question is, how can we limit it? They went to the UN and appealed the UN to stop it. and but I don't think that's going to do any good. So, but Iran's also try to get Trump to come around without having to give up all their proxies, all their missiles, and try to tempt him with, hey, we'll let you get into our oil. We'll let you have a piece of our action. We'll let you have mineral rights over here. Problem is, the regime stays in power. Now, another whole problem with the negotiation tactic is that everybody's been negotiating with Iran for years, and talking with them. And as we do that, they just keep building. They keep building. They keep spreading. And we're growing their proxies, building more missiles, enriching more uranium. And the whole reason that Trump tore up the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Agreement, the JPOT, it was because Netanyahu came out with data that some of his Mossad agents pulled out of Iran showing that they were actually had a full tilt program to build nuclear weapons. It was from their files, supposedly. But that don't mean that they had the go ahead to go full tilt on it, but that was the expectation. So have they built now all this pressure is on them? Are they doing more? They claim they're not enriching uranium at the moment, but that's what they're claiming. We don't know because we don't have the IAEA in there to do it. Grossi has told them, who's the head of the IAEA, he told them that, hey, your time's almost up. Your time to negotiate is almost gone. He has warned them that. I didn't pull up an article on that, so I figured I'd just tell you. Anyway, so now we get to Britain. Keir Starmer, he's a piece of work. Oh, Keir Starmer. We got anybody in the House from Great Britain or from the United Kingdom? Do we have anybody from the United Kingdom in the House tonight? Because Keir Starmer is, he's a guy that wants to put a chip in everybody, an ID chip in everybody in Great Britain, and one that you couldn't buy or sell without it. Now, isn't that just what you'd like to have? A chip? Does that sound like it's biblical? But that's where he's coming. And he's cozied up to China. He's let China build a ginormous embassy with a big secure facility in the bottom, perfect for hacking and spying on Britain, in the old Mint building in London. It's like, and he went and met with the Chinese. It's like he loves China. maybe more than he loves Great Britain. So if you're in Great Britain, uh, I'd say that, well, we're going to show something else here. But anyway, he said, well, the United States can't use any United Kingdom bases to strike Iran. But he even went as far as to say we couldn't use the Diego Garcia base in the Indian Ocean. Now that's supposed to be a joint base, not just a UK base that we are renting from. Supposing that's a joint US UK base. So how can he tell you that you can't use that when it's a joint base? I don't know. Do they have veto powers at that place? So that's what Trump was counting on, was using Diego Garcia. So we've always used when we deployed forces in the Mid East, and like when we're also attacking Iran, I mean Iraq before, yeah, Iran too, and especially the war in Afghanistan. And so, and we've used it in the past for other defense posturing for decades. So it's the only base we got in the in the Indian Ocean. So what is Keir Starmer really up to? We know he was trying to give the island to Mauritius. What's the name of that place? That other Mauritius, that island he's trying to give it to is actually a long way off from the Chagos Island where Diego Garcia is at. And here's the other thing: the islanders that were from Chagos Islands originally weren't part of uh, the guys he's trying to give it to. How do you say that? Mauritius. It's an island. It's like 1,000 miles away. So he's trying to give it to an island that never had an original claim to it. And so one of the prime ministers there in conservative prime ministers in Great Britain actually took some people, some of the Chagos tribe members who had been evacuated from the area because it was such a top secret facility being built, and took them to one of the other islands in that archipelago that's like 120 miles away, and set them up to settle the island. So hey, we're going to settle our own island to try to break the giveaway to another group who is China friendly. And China apparently is already negotiating with those guys to be able to set up bases in this Chagos Island network. They're already, China and Russia apparently are negotiating for bases there. And that's probably why Trump has reversed and turned hardcore against this giveaway of Chagos. And now the Chagos Islanders are actually setting up a little base there. And Starmer tried to evict them, but a local judge ruled he couldn't do that. He put an injunction against it. So you got some of the original islanders going back to one of the original islands and are resettling it, or trying to. I mean, they're just intense. So the advanced party was for settling that was led by Misli Mandarian. Almost looks like Mandarin. And that's on the Chagos Island side. So they had a British prime minister down there too. He was elected the Chagosian first minister. So he's the Chagogian uh, officer, basically. I guess that'd be like being a prime minister. So that's kind of interesting to see how there is opposition in the United Kingdom against Keir Starmer quite a bit. So let's hope that they can kind of bring an end to that. But you know what else is happening to Keir Starmer? They just passed a law. You can criticize Christianity people do all the time. Anything you want to say about Christianity is wide open. People criticize all the religions, especially Christianity. They passed a law in Great Britain and United Kingdom says you can't criticize Islam and the so-called religion of peace that spreads by the sword. So imagine that, guys. Just imagine that. Oh, just woke up tired, Tiffany. So imagine that, guys. And now an evangelist has been arrested for criticizing Islam in Great Britain. Hey, you guys in England, you guys in the United Kingdom, you're losing your country. Keir Starmer is a globalist. He loves China. He's the House of Klaus. He was trying to put chips in you guys, just straight out of the Book of Revelation. But thankfully, Nigel Farage said that Keir Starmer must go if the Chago surrender deal destroys the alliance with Donald Trump's America. There you go. So, for my friends there in the United Kingdom, you might want to stand behind Nigel Farage. He's a guy that crafted Brexit, right? To get England out of trying to pull the United Kingdom out of this globalist mesh up, which is the European Union, which they wanted to apply to the whole world. To see people trying to pull out of the European Union, I thought was a good step. Well, Starmer and others are trying to pull it all back in. There's a bigger picture than that. All this stuff about Greenland, like von der Leyen. Trump never said he'd militarily take Greenland. He never actually threatened to invade them. It's just his administration didn't say it was off the table, but they never actually threatened that. But you hear the Europeans that hear talk, that's exactly what he said. But no, it isn't. But this whole thing where they're going over there, like they're going, sending, five guys in a canoe, uh, two guys in a dog sled, and a couple of biplanes, off and on, acting like they're going to defend Greenland from the United States. That's all posturing. And all that posturing is to make Donald Trump look bad. And for one reason, because they are globalists. They want to set up a one world system. I just did a video about that. So you might want to check that out. That was, I believe, my last video where I was really talking this stuff, guys. This is biblical stuff they're trying to push right out of the book of Revelations, in my humble opinion. So, guys, if you're over in Europe, I know a lot of people in Europe don't want to be part of this conglomeration, the European Union, the House of Klaus, where BlackRock wants to take us, Larry Fink. So I would say, hey, push for conservative candidates, push to get your countries out of the EU, and push to restore freedom, restore your countries. Because they want to dissolve nations. So they have this big one world mashup. And what they want to do is they want to wipe out all those people in the middle and have themselves positioned at the top as a neo-feudal overlords. And with all the technology they've got, they want to be basically, they think they can become gods, and they don't believe in God. I showed you that guy just recently, where they're coming from. So pay attention. This is another reason I was urging you guys to really consider going with switchwithgreg.com. And I'll put a link in after I post this video. Ding, ding. So now this is interesting. Ted Cruz believes it's entirely possible that Cuba, Iran, and Venezuela will all collapse in 6 months. 6 months, maybe faster. Cuba is tottering. Now, Venezuela still has pretty much Maduro's old regime there, but it's not what it was. Pretty much the regime. But they are being embargoed. Whoa, what's happening there? This thing's trying to go somewhere. Oh, Lord. Anyway, let's go somewhere else here. But Cuba is quickly nearing the point of no returning as the U.S. Weaponizes its Venezuela oil supply. So we're already controlling the flow of oil out of Venezuela, even though most of the Maduro regime is still in charge. Maduro's not there, and we're dominating what's coming in and out of the country. So, and that is putting Cuba at existential risk, at least the communist regime that runs it. It's probably one of the few countries that's probably pure. North Korea and Cuba are probably the most pure communist countries in the world. Let's look how they're doing. So, U.S. Launches fighter jets at Russian warplanes. So the Russians sent a couple of Bear bombers and some jets over around Alaska in the Alaska Air Identification Zone area. And, we scrambled some jets to escort them to the left. So they're still checking and putting pressure. Uh-oh, we've hit that point where I got to stop the share and come back in. Hello. She is hanging up on me. Let's go back in now, see if we can move things. There we go. Now we're going to go away from more. We'll cover some other news. Remember, I did a video back a few weeks ago talking about civilization cycles. And we talked even some biblical stuff in that video. And this is a article about the archaeologist claims that they found 10-foot tall people in caves in Nevada. And it's like 8-foot and 10-foot skeletons. Maybe the women are 8 foot tall and the men are 10 foot tall, red haired. Remember the red-headed giant of Kandahar they talked about in Afghanistan? Gotta wonder. It's interesting. All those giants had red hair. So anyway, but there's Indian legends. They call these people the Satika, and they said they got them in this cave, Lovelock Cave, and set a fire at the entrance and caused them all to die. So that's how they claim they wiped them out. But apparently in 1911 and 1931, there was still being articles published about this. And now it's all been swept under. All been swept under. But all the Indians, it's all the tribes around that area had that legend. Not just one. They all had this legend. And we know the Smithsonian is accused of hiding all this because they don't want us to probably think that what the Bible is saying in Genesis was correct. Interesting. Why would they hide that? What do y'all think? Um, but there's some other strange things. There's a whole new set of studies coming about the pyramids. You may recall they discovered from ground penetrating radar, which looks like ginormous structures running a couple thousand feet or more underground underneath the pyramids with coils, cylinders with coils wrapped around them. Some big room at the bottom of that, some big cavity. Strange stuff. But now they're looking at erosion analysis on the rock of the pyramids themselves and claiming they're far older, just like the Sphinx. Maybe going back even 23,000 years or over 40,000 years. See this? 23,000 years ago, and maybe even 40, something somewhere in there. We're talking about possibly even 40,000. Too many ads in this article. But anyway, so that's interesting. Like I said, we may not be the first hurrah of civilization. But we might be the last if we're not careful. And we even got some new evidence that seems to support the Shroud of Turin has been legitimate. Well, basically, this is evidence that somebody was trying to shoot down the Shroud of Turin, and a lot of the claims they were making about how the cloth was laid on, stuff like that. Now the analysis is saying that's not correct. That's what that boils down to. So, all interesting stuff. Just tell me what y'all think about that. Leave a note below. I'd be curious to know what y'all think about it. Do y'all think we're going to war with Iran? Do you think it'll be in 1 day, 10 days, 2 weeks, a month? What do y'all think? Why do you think we're going? What do you think we're going in? And why in the world do you think Donald John Trump issued that he was going to release all the documents on UFOs? A lot of interesting stuff going down all at once now. Maybe a smokescreen. Anyway, now here's something else. We get all these people telling us, well, because our cars are pooting too much and our cows are pooting, our cows in our cars, that the end of the world is coming through global warming. And they point to Antarctica. Well, if you've ever noticed for some time, the ice melt in Antarctica is mostly coming from out from under the glaciers. Coming out from under the glaciers. Underneath. If it was warming, it should be like on top, right? But there's big rivers flowing out from underneath these glaciers. Well, it turns out they have found 207 possible volcanoes under the ice sheet. See, what happens is ice makes an insulator. The heat don't get away. So what's going on down in the crust below gets hotter and hotter. Usually that heat would dissipate through the crust into the atmosphere and out into space. But you got this big insulator on it. And so all these volcanoes are just getting more and more intense. Antarctica is the most volcanic place there is, but you don't see the volcanoes because they're under the ice. Isn't that interesting? And that's where they would be. There may be a few places where you got exposed mountains, but they're able to cool off. So it's the areas under the most ice that's giving the biggest problem. Some people think in the era of snowball Earth, that's what ended it, is that there's just so much heat buildup underneath the ice sheet that eventually the volcanoes just overtook and melted it and spewed a lot of stuff in the atmosphere. But in any event, so that's the claim here. And it kind of shoots down the Al Gore narrative, and all these people, when they start pointing to Antarctica, you can always say, well, yeah, but what about those volcanoes underneath? 207. That's a lot. Active. They're not just talking about active volcanoes. 207, belching smoke holes under the ice. So that really explains those rivers quite nicely. All right, we're almost done with the news part here. So here we are with the earthquakes. Japan's been rocking pretty good. Look at this, a 5.3 there, 4.2, and 4.7. And they're not in the same location, but Japan's been rocking pretty good. I mean, Japan's built for earthquakes, so they can handle those. But, that's starting to get their attention. Kamchatka Peninsula has got a 4.5. There's a lot of them been going on there. Alaska's always got a bunch up here. Our friends in Puerto Rico are dancing hard tonight. And Indonesia stays active. That's Papua New Guinea, pardon me. 5.7. We got one here in the ocean. Vanuatu, however you say that, 5.4. That's a super active area. Now look over here in Afghanistan, 5.8. That's a very mountainous region. You can kind of expect that. So there we are. And then we got a fresh one down here in Chile, 4.8. And space weather. We'll do space weather, and then we're done with the news. So our coffee club guys, we're almost through it. I don't know what we're we in for so far. I can't see the time on this. Anyway, so sun's looking pretty clean right now. Most of the sunspots have moved around the other side. That's good news for right now, but we don't know what 4336 is looking like now, that sunspot. It may come back as a beast. Let's hope not. But there is a major coronal hole opened up that's streaming a lot of solar wind at us right now. And the asteroid report it's the usual thing. After they pass us, we discover a bunch of them came in between the Earth and the Moon. That's what happens. After they pass, oh, there went one. Oh, there went one. Well, there's still a lot of them we just hadn't found yet. Now, those are small ones, fortunately, but we do have one coming up on the 14th of April. This is going to pass right before tax day, 7/10 of the way between the Earth and the Moon. So we do know one in advance. It's 20 meters wide. That could be an interesting event in the upper atmosphere if it hit. But it's still more toward the Moon than Earth by 70%. So I don't think it's anything to worry about, quite frankly. So I don't think there's anything on this chart that we know of that you got to worry about. That's the good news. All right, I'll stop the share. Hello. So I'll go to the chat room, see what folks are saying. All righty. Yeah, we'll go through the chat here and see what everybody's saying. I'll look at it on the computer now. I'm going through, then went through all that. Mariana, how was that? Mariana, I don't know how to pronounce Ashkurova. I don't know how to say Kurova. Are you Russian? That looks like a Soviet name. Where are you from, Mariana? Be curious. Cuban American? Mr. Dunham. Israel wants that smoke. Yes, they do. Carol, how you doing? Good to see you back. You on the East Coast? No. I'm in Arizona. I used to be in Alabama, but I'm in Arizona and I moved here. The regime needs changed. Hopefully we can change it. But to be honest, on a Sabbath. They're going in their holy month of Ramadan in Iran, but some people think that might mean that they would want to fight more. Greg, have you taken your name from the minor killer called Greg Green from Oakland? I never even heard of that. Now, I've been Green Gregs for a long time, 8 years. No. So Bronson, yeah, you look like, what was his name? Charles Bronson, the actor. Uh, Tell me about this guy, Greg Green. And my name's got one G at the end, not two, because my Greg is short for Gregory. JP Heathen, how you doing? No, 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 no. What? I ain't even heard of him. When was he active? Has he been caught? I guess he has. I got his name. Pilgrim, how you doing? Mike Johnson. That's right. I'm Green Greg, not Greg Green. My last name is Allison. Whoosh. Oh, somebody got taken out here. Well, I'm not Greg Green. My channel name is Green Gregs. My name is Greg Allison. I like alliteration. It's like I got Green Greg because I got a Galactic Gregs. Before I picked that name, I was thinking about Grandpa Greg's. I came this close to naming it Grandpa Greg's because actually it was the name I put on my worm farm. I started my worm farm before I started the channel, and I named the channel after my worm farm. And I think about calling my worm farm Grandpa Greg's, like Uncle Jim's was another big worm farm. But my daughter didn't like the sound of that. She thought it made me sound too old. So my youngest daughter. So in her honor, I named it Green Greg's. It was about gardening. This channel started out as a gardening channel. Or China and Russia in theater. Not in a combat sense, but they have ships in the area. They do have ships in there. Would they use them in combat? That would be really crazy if they were to do that. I kind of doubt it. I don't think they'd risk getting into war with us over Iran. However, if China's want to launch a war against us because we're launching on Taiwan, that might change it. Chihuahua from northern Mexico, aka rural San Antonio. Hey, Rick Thompson. Wormy. Eclipse and Virgo, Blood Moon. Arnold Schmidt, how you doing? American carriers and destroyer class have high energy microwave defense system and wipe out the entire storm. That's what I expect. I'm more familiar with the Army's microwave and laser weapon system, but I would expect the Navy would have the same. Yeah, I saw the C-17s that was carrying the small modular nuclear reactors, but you got to remember they didn't have. It took like 3 flights to move one reactor, and they didn't carry the fuel in them. So it's not like they're flying hot nuclear reactors ready to go. But they can move them around. It would be good if they could put those in the battlefield space so they could charge things up, right? Bill has the ARs. Okay, AR-10. Well, I missed Stan. There he is. Hey, Stan, how you doing? Stan, old as dirt. Stan's been a supporter of our Freedom Restoration Foundation. Author Boraski, am I saying that right, Arthur? Hoppy Hiker, that's a good name. What if our tech had just compounded so much, makes a joke out of everyone? We know Charles keeps telling everybody that we got some weapon system, we got some technology that nobody's even heard of. Nobody even thought of it. What's he talking about? When you use language like that, I'm thinking he's talking about maybe the kind of technology my friend Ning Lee was developing. anti-gravity. She worked for the Army for years in a totally black program. I just maybe comments. Please, everybody, keep your language clean. Hey, you can have any opinion you want. You can state anything you want in my chat room, but be respectful and keep it clean. You don't have to agree with me. I'm not one of these guys that say you got to agree with me because I believe in freedom of speech. If you want to discourse, we can talk. But keep it respectful and keep the language clean. You like alien technology, Hoppy? Well, I like it better when it's in our hands than somebody else's. Let's see. Rand does have mutes. Well, Bill the Kid, it's thought that by many that when Kazakhstan fell, I've heard these rumors for years. The way I heard it originally is they got a couple full nuclear missiles and everything, including warheads. I have since heard that number was four. Originally, I heard it, and I heard this right shortly after the Soviet Union broke apart. I mean, like pretty fast, because I had some people that were really highly connected, and that's how I got that intel. But I've heard since from other highly connected people, like we're talking top Russian Soviet weapons experts, that Iran got four. So Iran may indeed already have some. Four would be enough to totally eliminate Israel. Now, two or three would eliminate Israel. I mean, two would take out their population, so there's maybe one in the Imperial nuclear facility, and Israel would be done if they can get them, if they can deliver them. So we don't know, guys. That's an interesting problem, and maybe they wanted to have some domestic stuff to use, but they may actually have some. Now they do have the capability to launch a satellite, so they've got it basically, and they can launch something toward the United States. The satellite put it in orbit, EMP us. You do more damage to us with an EMP than you could with a nuke. Yeah, that's what I think. It may be a distraction, Bill the Kid, this whole UFO thing. Rand Paul lived to 95 eating beef tallow and drinking whiskey. Yeah, all the stuff they told us not to eat was unhealthy for us and told us to eat this other junk instead, margarine instead of butter, and on and on. Turns out margarine is far worse for you. Everything and you know what? Sugar isn't bad for you. Sugar is really bad for you. The only thing worse than sugar is ever swinging other sugar substitute, except honey, natural honey. Uh, yeah, I found about arsenic in your food and products. Yes, sir, old as dirt. Well, I'm going to do a video next week talking about lead in your toothpaste and other products, lead and other heavy metals in most toothpaste. Guys, that's why you want to go to switchgreg.com. I swear, the stuff they're putting out to you is horrible. 3:34 a.m. there. Okay, it's now 2:09 here where I'm at. I'm on Mountain Time. Animal Farm. That was a book. Okay, good night, Phil. Guess I went to bed. No F-18 Super Hornets or F-15s. Oh, yeah, what I showed you was Air Force aircraft. Yeah, you can bet there's some F-18s. F-15s, yeah. There ought to be some F-15s in there. I sure should. I worked on the F-15 program, so the Air Force has F-15s. I did work on that program. I did test program sets for them. And Warner Air Force Base was our customer. So I've seen the electronics is in the F-15. I know how they work, or at least how they did back in the, late 90s. No, it was, what was I working at? It was, late 90s. I'm sure that stuff's been replaced, what I worked on. Buying time to finish building. Could be AOE life. Could be a major disaster. Like I said, no plan survives first contact with the enemy because they got their own plans too. They know we're coming. Hey, we got somebody from Britain. I have no clue. Well, tell me about it. How do you pronounce this? Moving? E moving? All right, 369. Tell me about it. Is it worse or am I totally off base? What do you think? What do you think? No, I'm not there. If you are from there, tell us about it. Tell us something. Talk to us. I want to hear it. Huge terrorists of Britain. Yeah, we may have to just query so everybody's saying, hey, Tiffany. Sergeant Major Phil, if we don't watch out, we will too. This is a mess. Yes, Carol, it's a mess. And you know me, I've said all along we really didn't have any business in we didn't have any business in Iraq. I don't think we got any business in Iran. I think we ought to pull all our forces out of the Mid East, quite frankly. So yeah, keep your language clean, folks. No cussing. The enemy will deplete our munitions. That's what I'm afraid of, Billy the Kid. We're already low. If we have to face China, we don't have enough. Let's just be blunt about it. The biggest problem we got facing China is we don't have enough ship tenders. Those are the ships that refuel our ships at sea and bring in supplies. We've so focused on the ritzy, glitzy weapon systems that we haven't planned for. And part of it's because we thought any war we got into would be over in a few days. Well, now we know it'll probably go for months on end. So we don't have the ship tenders, the ships that take the fuel oil, that take the supplies our ships need, take the reloads for ammunitions. We're not set up for that. We just don't have enough. YouTube stopped you. Oh, rephase your post. Oh, dirt. I don't know. Are you talking to one of the other chatters? The bigger the political body, the more certain you can be that a psychopath is running it. True. So here's the problem in companies and in political organizations. You know, they say it floats. Well, literally, psychopaths tend to float to the top. They are usually are charismatic and they float to the top. And there isn't, I would submit further that there is no autocratic nation that don't have a psychopath at the top. Because the things they have to do to stay in power if they're a dictator is pure psychopathic. No, show me a dictator that wasn't psychopathic. If you think you can do that, I'm going to tell you, you're missing something because the things they do to stay in power is heinous. All of them. You can't say, well, this one over here is good and this one over here is not. No. Any person running a nation that's a dictator or something close to being a dictator is absolutely a psychopath. All of them. And even in our own country, the various heads of departments and things like that in the government, you can expect a lot of those people are psychopathic. Then you get agencies that are into intel. You can bet they're, FBI, CIA. Why do you think we have so much problems with them? And it's usually not the rank and file people. They're usually good people. The folks at the top, no. That's why we need to get some of these agencies. They shouldn't even be existing. A lot of them because they work against us. That's where you get this deep state, my friends. They're out there for power and self-preservation. Yeah, they're all on the same team. Pretty much Billy the Kid. J Frog, how you doing? Yeah, they just woke up. I got to go to bed here in a little bit. I got to get up in the morning. I got to bring me wood chips tomorrow. Tell the kid we are screwed unless we can stop them. Well, but how we stop them from heading us up into the cattle trucks? Well, I'm as far away as I can get. In a very remote location here. But you know what you want to do: stop them before it gets to that point. Don't empower them by buying their crap and giving them money to operate on. And go to freedomrestorationfoundation.org and go to the Action Center and scroll down is everything you need to know about contacting your politicians. Politicians. Politics. Mini ticks. Mini bloodsuckers. Fits perfect. I never heard anybody else say that, but that just dawned on me. So the elites think of us as cattle, unfortunately. Actually, they probably have more respect for cattle than they do us. Because we're useless eaters. To them, that's the worst thing in the world. Yeah. I hope you saw that. I'll have to pull it up here a little bit, re-show it. Last video I put out on this stuff, guys. Y'all need to see that. 10 to 15 days. Old as dirt. Yep, that's what I'm thinking. Megastones. Yeah, Hoppy Hiker. Earth is a volcano. Well, our core is definitely pretty darn active. Well, I hate it when anytime we get somewhere close to the bottom, the thing jumps on me. There we go. I missed a bunch of comments. Tiffany is a good lady. She's been a friend of our channel there for a while. Apophis, 375 million. If Apophis hit us, it would be a really bad day. Well, thank you, Tiffany, for the heart and the clapping. What's the fastest China can fly, and what's our fastest? Well, it depends on what we got. Some of those kind of things are classified. You know, it said there's a SR-72, you know, the kind of the child SR-71 Blackbird, which some people say can hit Mach 6. Of course, missiles, you know, those things are traveling thousands of miles an hour. If you're going to orbit, you got to go 17,500 miles an hour. Well, bad news is the scientists studying near Earth objects on Hubble, just on his porch. Oh, you talk to somebody working the Hubble telescope? You need something. Hubble is good for focusing in there down. You need a wide range of view to catch the asteroids. So you get some intel, wormy. Thank you, Tiffany. She said she liked green Gregs. Guess that's kind of against the conversation on Greg Green. I don't know anything about this Greg Green character. Morning from Kentucky. How you doing, Nicholas? Maybe this is the alien files Trump's talking about. They gonna bust out of the spaceship. Oh, Lord. I don't know about that. Found an original name with no numbers. Hmm. Oh, that's good, Hoppy Hacker. Well, that's a good name. Yeah, I don't like names with all these numbers. I try to avoid it. Uh, he may have had a program, but they didn't find anything over there. It's thought he might have had some chemical weapons and sent them out on a barge and get rid of them. Yes, cage EMPs can wipe out more people than nukes. Total. They go after Israel. I don't think they would be on the map for long. Well, Israel does have nukes, probably 200 or 300. They poison everything. Yeah, why is that? Part of it is just cheap. They put preservatives and stuff to make them last forever on the store shelves. And sometimes they just don't care. Some of these byproducts of the process, they just don't care. Brush your teeth with sugar. Loudy. Well, what did she say about that? Wormy. I have school friends that went to Rome and heard some carnival talking about dark times and prepare. Yeah, people in Europe are waking up to this stuff. Where's our friend from United Kingdom that might left a comment or said we didn't know what's going on? The nerds, candy, and other candy. Oh, that Cuba. Oh, good night, Cuba. You going? We're going to end here in just a few minutes. We're almost done. I got here to the bottom of the chat. Hey, Brad Davis. Oh, good night, Tiffany. Thank you for being with us. Appreciate it. We're about done here, guys. How many we got in the house? We got 135 in the house. It's amazing. The later they come on, the more people I get. I guess all the people waking up on the East Coast. Coffee Club members. All right. Warp speed population. Yeah, that could be coming, guys. They're talking pandemics and stuff too. Yeah. I don't know. What was I? Oh, yeah. So, all right, we went through the chat, went through the news. So now it's time to guess how many eggs did I harvest? Not how many eggs my chickens lay. How many eggs did I harvest today? Sergeant for Jesus Christ. West Coast, okay. Well, I'm Mountain Time. How many eggs did I harvest? Guess now, go. We'll do it two ways. One's how many eggs and then how many Easter eggs. We'll do the how many eggs first. What's the total number of eggs I got here? Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. All right. Debbie got it. Debbie got it. Debbie got, I got 6 eggs today. See that? Oh, I'm showing it to you already. You probably guessed my other guess. I meant the hell up. It's 6. Actually, AOE gets honorable mention because his laid 7, but I broke one picking it up. So I harvested 7. That's what I asked. How many? Excuse me. I asked how many did I harvest. I said it was 6. So Debbie got it. It was 6. All right. So I showed them to you a little bit. Maybe I didn't show them to you well enough. How many of these eggs are Easter egg or eggs? How many are Easter egg or eggs? Yeah, that's more than I can eat. My hens are laying more than I can eat. I got 12 hens and a rooster. Guess again. That's pretty close guess, Oldest Dirt. Guess again. How many Easter eggs we get? The Easter eggs are colored eggs. They're kind of bluish green. Keep going. Keep going. How many Easter eggs? No, I didn't get 10. I only got 6. Ah, whoa, we got it. Mark. Mark got it. Mark got it. This one right here. It's been set. Got 1. That's a light brown egg, so they don't count. Well, it is light though. But I got one. One Easter egg. All right, that's fun. All right, everybody. And I'll hats off to Ed at Prepper Nurse One. He's the one person who inspired that to me. But I can't say I'm selling his thunder because my egg count will never be what his egg count is. So if you're not seeing Prepper Nurse One, check him out. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. So kind of like me, he had a homestead and he moved to another homestead. He moved from a homestead in New York to West Virginia. I moved from Alabama to Arizona. So we both kind of have similar experiences in picking up roots and moving them. And we're both reestablishing homesteads. So I have a lot of respect for what he's doing. And he's a good guy. Soldier for Jesus Christ. Now give us a real Easter egg. Well, if you want something that's real Easter, you got to go to Jesus Christ for that. I did show you the word it's looking more like the shroud's authentic. I think it is. I've researched it a lot, and I've seen it. I have been and saw the shroud of Turin with my own eyes. I sat there and I went. It was when I happened to be in Turin when they had it on public display, and I sat there in that chapel and looked at it for a long time. I walked around, of course, and looked at it. So, yeah, I've spent some time in the presence of the shroud. It's interesting, really interesting. So, how about everybody? I can't talk. Imagine that, me not talking. I'm tripping on my tongue, getting my tongue tangled. Everybody tell me where you're from, because we had one lady in here from, or one person, I don't know if it was one male or female. We had somebody in here from the United Kingdom, made a comment and says, we don't even know what's happening there, which kind of makes it sound like maybe it's worse. And I think it is from all the reports I'm seeing. So you have no idea what's going on here. I don't doubt it. So I asked her to let us know to comment. Oh, yeah, I want to check. So we got any. All right, we got Oregon Coast. Greg, did you see Prepper News, David Pine? I will watch it later. I know David. In fact, I think Nate poached him from that, sent him on my channel because he was on my channel before he was one of Nate's. I did several interviews with him. So we got Austin, Texas, Bill the Kid, Indiana, Randy. So okay, no chats through my donate button, my website. Central Illinois, North Georgia. What part of North Georgia, Sergeant Major Phil? My family came from Northwest Georgia on my dad's side, up around Gainesville, Rome, Cedartown, you know those areas? A lot of Allisons in those areas. Carol, I'd love to see the shroud. I've seen it. I have seen it. It's very interesting. And what's really funny is before I went, guys, I got in mind to write a book in which the shroud plays a central part in that book. And I've written part of it over 20 years ago. I started before the year 2000. Hey, we got Alabama. Carol from Alabama. Well, part of it. Hey, Carol, are you from, do I know you? I think I know who you might be. Are you from Huntsville? Are you part of NARPnet? I may know who you are. I am from Earth. Nicholas. Yeah, we don't have Jason Smith in the house. When he's in the house, he always tells us he's married 51. Kansas, Louisville, Kentucky. Just outside the Blue Ridge. Like you, I used to live in Alabama. Okay. Blue Ridge area. Okay. Well, if you ever go around Rome, especially Rome, Cedartown, yeah, especially Rome, Cedartown area, that my ancestors took a wagon train down, and there was a whole caravan of Allisons. They bought their land from the Chutta Cherokee and lived among them, and they paid a decent price for it. They didn't run them out. They just went in and bought land directly from them, and lived among them peacefully. They like integrated into their community until the Indians were removed by Andrew Jackson. Nephilim disclosures any day now. Yeah, it may be more like what it is, soldier for Jesus Christ. It's my humble opinion that these entities are demonic. Oh, my other computer's battery's about to die. It's plugged in, but it's not charging. I don't know what's going on with it. Plug it in something else here in a little bit. So, good morning, Greg, from Tennessee. What part of Tennessee, Donald Franks? I used Tony, Alabama, at least where I live in Tony. I was 8 miles as a crow flies from Tennessee. And I'd go to, if I was going to just go buy something quick, I'd usually run up to Ardmore instead of going to Huntsville. Donald Franks. That almost sounds familiar. Carol's not telling me. I'm just wondering if she's the Carol I'm thinking about. But I got a couple friends, a couple from my area, and I think they watch my channel. So, all right, folks, I think we've covered enough. I'm gonna have to plug this computer into something else. It's about to die. If I'll do it now, shut it down, plug it in. Another outlet. I'll just shut it down. I'll plug it in and done. Okay, that's sleep mode. There we go. No way, it's not charging at all. My charger's not working. These cords, they go bad. I don't know why. They just wear out. They shouldn't. It's built-in obsolescence is the best I can figure. 28 degrees C here in western Alberta. Well, it's supposed to get down to 18 degrees Fahrenheit here tonight. So I'm going to be colder than you, Arnold. It's 24 degrees Fahrenheit here now, and it's going down to 18 tonight. So, minus 28. Oh, I didn't see the minus. Okay, you're colder. Yeah, all right, minus 28 degrees. So, yeah, that's cold. All right, sorry about that. You are colder, definitely. Definitely that. That's pretty chilly. Yeah, we had some snow this morning. This morning we actually had a little snow. It didn't last because it was above freezing when it hit. But we had a little snow this morning here. So I drove up to Show Low, and there were still patches of snow around there that hadn't all melted, but everything melted here. 55 in Austin. All right, very good. All righty, folks. I want to say thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, mods. Thank you for everything you do. And I want to thank Billy for the super chat. So I really appreciate that. Mr. Bill 4446. Salute to you. And I just want to thank everyone. So everyone, really take care of yourselves. Keep your eyes wide open and head on the swivel because we never know what's coming at us. We just never know. If we get into a war, if China gets involved, even if Iran thinks that they're about to get wiped out, if they think it can stop it, if they can slow us down, you can expect it to be activating their sleeper cells here. We know that they got some over here. But the sleeper cells I'm most worried about is the Chinese ones. And this could precipitate China invasion in Taiwan. I wouldn't be surprised. Do you miss Dog Days Flea Market? Yes. Did you see my old videos when I used to go there, Donald Franks? Did you see those? Wayne County, okay. Oh, we got Raleigh, North Carolina in here. I've been there. I used to live in Spring Lake, North Carolina. I had some friends up in the Raleigh area. There was a Raleigh chapter of the L5 Society back in the days. I started one, a Cumberland County chapter, and we had some friends off the East Coast of New Bern had a chapter, and there was a chapter in South Carolina. We used to all meet together sometimes. So definitely. Oh yeah, Dog Days. I did several videos from Dog Days because I go in and I do buy hand tools. And I was always encouraging you guys to buy hand tools, manual tools. So when the grid goes down, they'll still work. So, yes, sir. I got so if you hadn't seen them, Donald Franks, I've got a bunch of them way back. When I used to go to Dog Days a lot. So yeah, I've even sold stuff at Dog Days. You know, 2 or 3 times I've said it. I didn't sell too many times there. But there's also a flea market here. I might do some video from that one day. Who knows? I might sell there, especially this big garden I'm building because that flea market's kind of a farmer's market flea market. You know, I used to do a lot of videos from the farmer's market when I'd sell there, and Madison, the Madison City Farmers Market in Alabama. But they were seasonal. They wouldn't run through the winter, and I was growing microgreens. That kind of checked me a little bit because I could sell microgreens year round. I can grow them year round. Joining late, Kent Stay is off to attend mass. Okay. Well, catch it on the rewind. Anybody coming here, catch the video on the rewind. Uh, those were great videos. Okay, yeah, on the song, selling microgreens. Yeah, we had some fun there. We had, if y'all might remember, uh, we had Susan and Randy Bly from the Blue Bottle Bunny Farm. Susan Humphreys and Randy Bly from the Blue Bottle Bunny Farm. This blue bottle, Susan Humphreys made that for me, gave it to me as a gift. And they came to the farmer's market there, I think once or twice. And we did video, and, you know, they would play the guitar and sing, and we had a big old time. In fact, the farmers market told us to quit playing because they had an official band down the way, and my Randy and Susan were giving them too much competition. Susan's writes her own songs, and they're hilarious. They're absolutely hilarious. She's funny. She's a real talented person. Randy, unfortunately, is in hospice care right now. So, and selling worms, yeah, I might return to that here one day. I just might return to it. I got worms out here. I'm raising worms right now. All right, folks. I'll try if the wind not blowing too bad. We've had some crazy windy days here. If the wind's not blowing too bad this weekend, I'll do a garden update. And I'm going to be doing a video on lead poison that's in your toothpaste, in the children's toothpaste. Just heavy elements, guys. And I got 3 videos I've already recorded. I'll be uploading 2 to Galactic Graves and 1 here. 2 of the videos are talking about just the unbelievable threats that's up against us right now. So anyway, eyes wide open, head on a swivel. Trump is going to talk away. You don't think he's going to do anything? We'll see. We'll see. I think something's going to happen. Breath light and the mouthwash. There's all kinds of stuff. That's why you need to go to switchwithgreg.com. Check it out, guys. Really, seriously. Because you're buying products that's full of bad stuff. You're taking them, you get them to your kids, family. And then on top of that, every time you buy that stuff, it's voting for the House of Klaus, the globalist. So I say get out. That's why I come up with switchwithgreg.com. I knew we needed to do something. I researched and I found a way out. I found this company and we got it set up now. So I appreciate everyone. Yeah, there's that too. And well, unfortunately, that's a program Trump started. That's why I don't trust him. I tell you guys, trust no man. Trust no man. So I mean, I like he's pulled us out of the WHO and a lot of stuff like that. I really appreciate that. He did fire a lot of federal top agents out of a lot of these agencies. That's good. He's done a lot of good things that I appreciate, but can't trust anyone. Trust no man. That's what I keep telling you guys. I had a beard like Greg's, but trimmed it. Hey, Drops. How you doing, Drops? Good to see you. Drops is also an electrical engineer, as I am. All right. All right, folks. I just want to say again, thank you, Billy or Bill, and for the super chat. Thank you, mods, for all the work you do to keep the channel clean. Y'all were a little bit busy tonight, I saw. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Do share my videos. Share them widely because this platform do not like me. I get about a quarter of the views I got when I had a quarter of the subscribers I got today. It makes no sense whatsoever. But any channel, conservative channels, they tamp down. And if you say stuff that's not supportive of China, those are the channels they stomp the hardest. And I'm definitely in that category. So they're stomping me. So help me out, guys. Go in and make comments after I do the video, on the bottom, and comment to other people's comments. No, I don't worship nobody, Family Landscape Company. Don't worship no man. But, worship no man. Put your faith in no man. You got to look above for the higher powers. Anyway, once again, thank you all. And with that, I'm going to say a good night to one and all. Good night, good day.